Speaking Human.
Today, on a special bonus episode of Speaking Human, we freeze, chill, and serve our thoughts on the coolest things to come out of 2015. In the iconic words of Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin, let's kick some ice.
Speaking Human.
That was a good Arnold.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, it was good. Welcome to this bonus episode of Speaking Human. What's different about a bonus episode? Well, we do away with the formalities and have a looser, less structured discussion. So it's a little shaggier and more off-topic than our official episodes. Today we're going to talk about some stuff we thought added an element of cool to 2015. So what do I mean by stuff? Well, anything really. It can be tech, websites, apps, movies, TV shows, books, music, events, products, people, you name it, anything goes. So, very loose episode today. So before we dive right into our picks, Patrick, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on 2015 as far as coolness goes. Was this a cool year?
I think overall 2015 was pretty cool. This list that I put together wasn't necessarily easy to put together. I feel like picking the coolest or most awesome things in a year is kind of like picking your top 10 favorite songs of all time. It's kind of torture. You know what I mean?
And it can basically, at any given moment, those things could completely change.
Yeah. You know, even when you're doing it, there's always that feeling that you're missing something too. Like, gosh, I know that there's something else. And sometimes it's just hard to choose between two things when there's so much good stuff out there to choose from. So,
yeah. That being said, I didn't think, when you think of what was the coolest stuff that happened this year, a lot of stuff a few things popped into my mind, but most of it was, I kind of had to reach or really think about it. So I don't know how cool that makes 2015. I guess it was semi-cool. There wasn't a whole lot that blew me away, which was the same kind of thing with our Awesome Awards episode. It wasn't like blow you away type things. It was more, what was kind of cool?
well, and that's the nice thing about the cool episode is that, these are just things that are on the radar.
And obviously cool is a really subjective term too. What I think is cool and what you think are cool is probably two very different things, as with anybody. So
Now, of course, there's going to be some of the things that we pick that our listeners don't agree with us, and some that are appalled that we didn't include this or that, So I apologize in advance to our listeners and say to you, leave some comments on speakinghuman.com with what you think we missed, some of your favorite coolest things from 2015. See how I turned that around? Get some comments.
It was good. It was good. And, everybody who's listening is probably cooler than us. I can say, I had a second kid this year, and any sort of cool I had left with that, it's pretty much over for me now and cool. So
You could look at it the other way and say, man, you're the coolest dad there is. Coolest dad of two.
yeah, cool and coolest dad, different categories.
Yeah, it's relative to where you're at in life, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm not totally in the know of, pop culture and all that stuff like I used to be. I don't have my finger on the pulse like I once did, but whatever. I still know cool, man. Patrick, do you want to start us off? We each kind of have 5. We'll do our typical, bounce back and forth and share any thoughts we have on what the other person mentions. Do you want to kick things off?
The first on my list is Alphabet. I love that Google created a whole new company to house all of their other companies, including Google. This is intended to make the company cleaner and more accountable, and who doesn't like that from a business perspective? So the creation of Alphabet, I think, was a very cool thing that hit the world in 2015.
What do you think of the name?
I think it goes hand in hand with Google. It feels like Google to me. Their idea of anything's possible, like anything in the alphabet is possible. Like it could be any kind of company. And it's sort of elementary, like Google. Google became a word, but it sounds a little bit like a plaything. You know what I mean? So I do like it from that angle.
Yeah, I didn't love it at first, but it might be growing on me. I see the potential there. It's becoming more normalized to me, I guess.
And the key is, it's an umbrella company anyway. All the other companies are really going to be the things that come to the forefront. Alphabet is just sort of the holding company.
Yeah, so it fits.
So from a brand perspective, that's pretty cool. How about you? What do you got?
My number 5, you're going to love this one. I call it the coolest terrible soundbite. Came out in 2015. They remade the movie Point Break and came out with a trailer, which we both watched. and kind of reacted to, which had maybe the best terrible line I've ever heard that I like to repeat over and over again. On the web, people have had a lot of fun with this too. And that line is this: I believe, like me, the people behind these robberies are extreme athletes using their skills to disrupt the international financial markets, and they don't care who gets killed in the process. What a ridiculously hilarious line, Whoever wrote it, I don't know if they thought that was serious or not, but it's pretty funny.
There's so many good one-liners in the original that it's not surprising that they came up with something a little different on this one.
The thing about the original is they weren't trying to be funny, right? They're trying to be a very serious movie, and there's a lot of funny things that just came along with it. That's why it kind of works on that weird level. This new one, I don't know if they were trying for that ridiculousness, but when you're trying for it, it's just not the same.
It's forced as opposed to something that just comes through, it's organic and natural.
Yeah, but that being said, I do love the line. It makes me laugh over and over, so I can keep watching it. Like me, the people behind these robberies are extreme athletes using their skills to disrupt the international financial markets. What?
I don't even know what that means.
Like me. So he's an extreme athlete who uses his skills to disrupt international financial markets, and he doesn't care who gets killed in the process.
Like, why would you even say that? Why are you an FBI agent?
Why do you work here? These people share these three traits: extreme athletes, great knowledge of international financial markets, don't care who gets killed.
That's actually the three questions they ask you when you're joining the FBI. Do you have all of these three qualities? Oh, yes?
Are you an extreme athlete? Oh, yeah. Stop remaking these movies, people. All right.
Oh, that's a good one.
Moving on. What do you got at the fourth slot?
So I'm going to go outside the norm on this one, Chad, and pointing out the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup winners, the United States women's soccer team. This is and was really cool in my opinion because I love me some soccer, and I was pretty invested in seeing our women's U.S. team win this one. So that was really cool. Not something we typically talk about, although we have had an episode about the World Cup in the past, mainly the marketing that revolved around it. Something that was kind of interesting, though, that I learned when I was doing a little research, interestingly enough, to tap into something high-tech that coincided with this tournament, because we're techies, Shad. This was the first World Cup tournament to use the Hawkeye goal line technology system. Do you know what that is?
I assume it's some sort of camera to give you a inside view of what it's like to be in the goal. Is that right?
Damn you, you're so close. Put simply, it's a complex computer system that visually tracks the trajectory of the ball and displays a record of its statistically most likely path as a moving image.
And It doesn't care who gets killed in the process.
It's been used in other tournaments and sporting events like tennis. But
okay.
So, yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and all those kind of things make, especially certain sports much better to watch on TV. In football, they added where the first down line, they added that to TV, which is like one of the greatest advancements, I think, that's ever happened to TV sports. It just made it so much better. And I do know what you're talking about in tennis, where they show like where the ball lands. Which all that stuff, I think, just makes it more entertaining for a viewer, especially sports like, soccer, where here in America, we're kind of a little bit at arm's length too.
Anything you could do to make any sport a little bit more exciting.
And I've always thought soccer's kind of like hockey. On TV, it doesn't translate super well.
I think the biggest problem is that it can take long to score a goal. You go a whole soccer game, it'd be 1-0. You know what I mean? So things that make it visually more appealing to people on screen, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, because in the end, you put something on TV, it's an entertainment product. That's what it is.
What do you got?
Which leads nicely into my number 4. We're talking about entertainment. A cool thing I thought about 2015 was the streaming surge. We talked in our cord cutting episode about this, but it's been a year where streaming, it fell over the tipping point. And there are a couple reasons for that. One was HBO leading the way and separating for the first time and saying there's another way you can get HBO besides having cable, and that was with HBO Now, which was the extension of HBO Go, which you still needed a cable service with. HBO Now was the first time you could just pay standalone and get HBO, and that led the charge for what I think we're going to see a lot more of. Showtime did it shortly after. You've just seen it bulking up, all the content that's available on streaming now. it's easier to get all the things you want to watch without having cable. So I think it's been a big year for streaming.
Oddly enough, that's actually next on my list. So we are going to have a little overlap there. And this is, I knew we would eventually. This is one of the cool things, too, from my opinion, just seeing people leaving their cable subscriptions behind and pursuing a life of streaming television and movies on demand. And a lot of progress is being made, giving people more choices, which is one of those things. It's changing the face of television, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Going to my next pick, I'll switch gears a little bit. I have an actor that I thought was cool that I discovered this year, who is Oscar Isaac. Do you know Oscar Isaac?
Yeah, is that the guy from Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, Poe.
Yeah. So he's been around for a while. I just watched a bunch of stuff this year. He was in Inside Llewyn Davis, which was a Coen Brothers movie. He was in that. I thought was really good. He's in the HBO miniseries Show Me a Hero, Ex Machina.
Yeah, there's this movie that he was in called Sucker Punch. Did you ever see that movie?
I did see Sucker. That's right. He was like the bad guy, right?
Yeah. That's probably one of the original movies I saw him in. Yeah.
Yeah, I never even put together that was him until right now. He's kind of like this generation's Al Pacino or something, without all the screaming, Hoo-ah! Everything I've seen him in like 5 movies this year, and everything I saw him in, I'm like, this guy's pretty good. And then obviously Star Wars, might take him to another level.
Yeah, he might be the next Han Solo, right?
There's multiple characters they position as the next Han Solo. Everybody's got a little Solo in them.
Yeah, well, he was the most beloved character of the franchise.
Oh, no doubt.
That's a good pick. I like that one.
Yeah, he stuck out in 2015 to me.
He was cool.
What do you got next? What's next on the docket?
So the next on my list, since I combined, my internet streaming with yours, a cool tech note, Shad. Not techno,
okay.
But techno.
Not techno, because nothing's cool about techno.
The Raspberry Pi computer. You know what this is?
Never heard of it in my life.
So Raspberry Pi is a computer maker out of the UK that created affordable DIY computing projects for universities and hobbyists through their logic boards. The coolest part is that it makes computers affordable and the barrier to entry almost non-existent. So Raspberry Pi's latest computer costs just $5. I mean, $5 for a computer. And it's also a great way for people to get into computer programming, which is newsflash, the future of the world. So one of the cool things that I think happened in 2015 was that they reduced the barrier to entry down to $5.
Yeah, that's pretty unbelievable. I haven't heard of this or seen this. What does this computer look like? Is it made from old socks?
It looks like old socks. They just cut old socks into squares. It actually looks like a logic board. It's actually pretty advanced for what it is, but doesn't have that much power. You could do some basic things with this computer. And like I said, it's a DIY kind of thing. So people who love to build computers or who are interested in computer programming would love this. And it's a great way to get entry into that world.
That's amazing. $5.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Crazy times we're living in. Crazy times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it leads well into the next one I got is another piece of tech that I thought kind of had a banner year in 2015, which was the self-driving car.
Oh, yeah.
We had about half a dozen automakers announce their self-driving cars, coming supposedly on the road sometime between 2017 and 2020, which is really soon, right? This is one of those future things we were promised in movies for so long. Pretty close to becoming a reality, which is both, exciting and terrifying. This is one of those things I feel like I've always wanted. Like I always wanted to be, I go so many places where I'm driving. I'm like, wouldn't it be just nice if you could just take a nap or read a book or something and then just be there? Getting closer to happening. But then you're also like, oh man, I'm in this car and I have no control. Till you adjust to it, it'll take a while. But obviously the idea of computers would be a lot more safer than humans driving, just because you eliminate some of those human errors like texting or, falling asleep, these things we just do that, make things more dangerous. Of course, 2015 was also the year Google debuted its own self-driving pod car, which was pretty funny looking if you saw it. But yeah, Google's really been pushing the self-driving car.
Well, they've got their hands in everything, don't they? I mean, really.
Alphabet.
Speaking of Alphabet, yeah. For the self-driving car, I always think of that scene in Minority Report movie. I mean, you see all those lanes of traffic and all those cars are like going, seems like 200 miles an hour, and they're just being automated. it'd be an interesting day when we live in that world.
Yeah, if you've seen the Mercedes self-driving car design, they gave some pictures and stuff. It kind of looks like a Minority Report car. It looks very futuristic.
I don't know if I've seen that one, but
yeah, you should check it out.
That's a car company that I would think would be on the cutting edge for sure.
Yeah, the future is coming at us fast.
So my number 5 or my number 1, however you want to go in reversal, the hype of VR was built in 2015. The foundation is set to give VR a ginormous launch as big players like the Oculus Rift and others make their debut in 2016. I recently said if there were 1 or 2 words in the tech industry that people will most definitely hear in 2016, it's going to be VR or virtual reality. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. And you look at, CES going on right now, it's all about VR. VR is everywhere.
Yeah. We've had episodes where we've talked about things related to it, and in terms of from the marketing angle, I think this is going to be bigger than what we felt like it was going to be even when we talked about it, the play off the Lawnmower Man and everything. So people are really interested in it. I feel like people need something like this. They want a huge change like VR because they're sort of tired of HD and super HD and 4K and whatever. They want something more.
Yeah, people are ready for it. Is the tech ready? That's the question. It's going to be interesting to see how some of these different gaming VR headsets they have coming out this year and things like that play out. It's still one of those things that has a lot of questions around it. There's a lot of buzz, but how it's going to meld into everyday life, still the up in the air question.
And that's where I think it'll be one of those progressive things. I think it's going to be over the next 5, maybe 10 years, it's going to progressively get better. Because I think the first sets, they'll be good. It'll probably be the next big holiday gift. I don't think that that's going to be the end all be all. I think it's going to be the entryway, and I think they'll just get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody's planting the seed right now. It's going to take a while to get to that point where, there's going to have to be some piece of hardware that comes out that pushes things a little bit farther, right?
Mm-hmm. Going into the world of sci-fi, and you see the movies where they don't even have headsets. They just got these virtual realities that they're sort of immersed in. So
yeah, it's one of those things. It's like flat screen TVs or smartphones or streaming, these technologies that just come up in waves and then become part of our lives. Seems like it's poised to be that anyway. That's the future, man.
It's the future.
The last thing I have on my list that I'll talk about that harkens back to entertainment a little bit. I thought there was 2 pretty good pieces of exemplary summer entertainment this year, and that was Mad Max Fury Road and Mr. Robot, which were 2 things that came out in the summer, were exactly what I want for my summer entertainment. Breezy and crazy, fast-paced and fun. Both those things delivered on that front.
I love that I was able to turn you on to Mr. Robot. I know that you had another friend that was watching it too, but I love that. One of my
you were definitely primarily driver, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I watched it. That was probably one of the good TV finds of the year for me.
I always feel like anytime you recommend a show or a movie, you really hope that the other person liked it as much as you think that they would like it, but you never know for sure. You always hope all the stars align. And you're like, I hope they didn't think I was an idiot by recommending that. So yeah, I'm glad you liked that one.
It's interesting you say that. A lot goes into recommendations. You know what I mean? It's like a big deal. There's people I know who if they recommend something and you say they don't like it, it's really upsetting to them. You're insulting who they are,
Yeah. Like they made it.
I put my heart and soul into that show. I think you're a little better now because you recommended that to me.
Oh, sweet. But it's good. We have a good list there. The thing I like about the cool list, it's very unlike our awesome awards. And that, it's stuff that's a little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah. That's what we do this for, is just call out some of those things that we like. You hope, like you said, with recommendations that maybe other people will check them out and like them too.
And it gives them a glimpse into the minds of the men behind Speaking Human.
The hearts of the humans.
The hearts and souls of what makes us tick.
Yeah, I'd say now we're officially done with 2015. We can move on to the new year, see what kind of cool crap comes our way this year.
That's some cool crap.
Well said, right?
Well, that's all for this bonus episode of Speaking Human. You can find and listen to more episodes of the podcast, 50 more, and some change with our bonus episodes in the iTunes store.
Until next time, stay cool, humans.
Speaking Human.